This consent decree marks a new day for Louisville. Our standing together today makes clear that Louisville and the United States share the goals of promoting public safety, ensuring constitutional policing, and strengthening trust between community and law enforcement.
Assistant U.S. Attorney General Kristen Clark right there, looking to a bright future with the city of Louisville, announcing a consent decree has been finalized.
And right now at 5:30, we're going to bring you our live interview with Mayor Craig Greenberg and Police Chief Paul Humphrey. The chief was part of the negotiating team for the deal with the feds that will guide the department for at least 5 years.
A reminder that this agreement involves a federal court order to hold the department and city legally accountable. This means LMPD will have to prove it's making equitable changes and meeting goals for it to be lifted.
And we want to welcome both the mayor, Craig Greenberg, and LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey joining us live to talk about this historic agreement for Louisville. Chief, I was most struck by some of what you said today. With the assistant U.S. attorney standing next to you, said it's our city, our police department. The DOJ is not making decisions. Why did you feel the need to say that so clearly and bluntly right there today?
Because it's 100% accurate. I think one of the misnomers about consent decrees is that the Department of Justice comes in and runs the police department or runs the city. They don't tell us what to do. There are two decision makers for this police department, and it's me and it's the mayor, and we do that in conjunction with our command staff, and we expect to remain that way. And so here's the thing, Doug, when things go wrong, I'm going to be blamed for it. And so it doesn't matter whether we have a consent decree or not. I have to make those decisions for the department and for the best interest of the city.
All right. Mr. Mayor, you said the timeline of this of 5 years or less. We had a reporter who talked to some of the folks in Baltimore who are going through it, and they said they didn't feel like that timeline was realistic because in most cases it's taken about a decade. I mean, New Orleans has taken 11 years. They're going through it. Where do you get, 5 years or less?
Well, a few things. First of all, unlike some other cities, we've already made meaningful improvements, meaningful reforms over the past 2 years since I've been mayor. And under Chief Humphrey's leadership, those improvements continue to be made every day. We didn't wait for a consent decree to take action. We made a commitment to the people of Louisville on day one that we were going to start making improvements. And so a lot of what the consent decree calls for, the chief and his team are already implementing. It's already happening. And so once we can show and validate through all of the ways that we've agreed to in the consent decree that we're making substantial compliance, we actually think there'll be some sections we'll be able to get out of after about 2.5, 3 years-ish. But 5 years is the goal. At that point in time, the burden of proof shifts to the Department of Justice to prove that the city of Louisville and LMPD are not in compliance. We think that's important because this should not go on forever. We should be aggressive about making improvements, and we should be focused on improving public safety.
Chief, I want to ask you about the measurement of the civil rights violations. How will you be able to determine that you're making improvements in that area, not violating people's constitutional rights?
Right. So what we've done over the past several years is we've created an audit unit that gives real-time feedback to supervisors on how officers are performing, and we score that out. And that's part of what's going to be done here is that our audit unit, in conjunction with supervisors, will work to produce that documentation, and we'll show that when officers are making mistakes, we are holding them accountable and taking corrective action. And so I think it should show itself that we're doing a good job here. And a lot of what we did and a lot of what's in this agreement is really built around the things that we've already started to put in place. And so really it's about showing our progress as much as it is anything else.
Breonna Taylor's mother, Tamika Palmer, said today she was doubtful to see changes being made. What would you both say to her today?
Well, we understand that there's nothing that we can do to bring her daughter back, to bring anyone who is no longer with us back. But what we can do is we can build on our shared history. We can build a better police department, a better city government, a city that is united, that is safer, that is stronger, that is healthier, and we believe we're well on that path. And the agreement that we signed today, we think will continue us on that path.
Did you see this as a compromise agreement? Because the one thing the Baltimore guy did tell us is that that benchmark where the Department of Justice will have to be the burden of proof in 5 years. In 5 years, you're going to have a Donald Trump DOJ. We know how he feels about police, very big supporter, does not like the DOJ. Do you think that will impact Louisville unwinding this in 5 years?
Well, regardless who the president is or the attorney general is, we agreed to the words in that consent decree today that's going to be overseen by a federal judge. And the chief and I know that the pressure is on us, everyone in our city government, to do what we agreed to do. And so we believe that we're going to make that happen, regardless of who's president. We're committed to doing that as quickly as possible and then continuing to move on, because once the consent decree is over, we want to continue making improvements. We're going to always be looking to improve ourselves, any department in city government. That's our goal.
Mm-hmm. And Chief, if you wanted to answer that question about what you would say to Breonna Taylor's mother, and also, you made the statement today that you don't want the department to be judged by its worst moments. Kind of expand on that, if you would.
Yeah, and like the mayor said, that was an absolute tragedy all around, and it's the things that we put in place should recognize the history that we have and make sure that those types of things aren't repeated. I'm a firm believer that history does not repeat itself. History is a spiral, and you can take it one way or the other. You can choose to learn from it and improve and make that spiral up. And so while it might look similar, you're on a path of constant improvement. And so that's really what this is about. It's about learning from the past, not dwelling in it, and determining where your future is. And so that's what we're going to do. This is a path forward to improving the police department, improving public safety in the city of Louisville.
All right. Thank you both for joining us live.
Thank you.
Connie.
All right, well, to check out the entire 242-page consent decree agreement, just head to our homepage at WHS11.com.